We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's still dark here in the Pacific Northwest, but the sun will be coming up. And I just want to welcome everybody. I'm excited and nervous, so bear with me on that one. My purpose here is to be guided by my inner spiritual wisdom so that I can teach myself what I most need to know to strengthen my connection, trust, and faith in my own inner wisdom. We're grateful for everyone who finds themselves in the sanctuary at Awakening Together. We ask you to remember that you're listening from your own inner spiritual wisdom, and you may find yourself hearing what is needed from what is being shared. What is shared is more like a catalyst. The insight and the clarity comes from within you. So, Tawonda has volunteered to read for me, and I think I picked too much to read, and I'm sorry, Tawonda. I'm not going to have you read all of NTI. So, she will be reading excerpts from the book NTI, from the Holy Spirit's interpretation of the New Testament. And what I had done is I went through and I looked up resist, and I pulled everything out that had anything to do with it. And it was good. So anyway, thank you, Tawonda.
Excuse me. Thank you, Michelle. Good morning, everyone. It's a lot, but there's a lot of good nuggets here for everyone. So I'll first start with Matthew chapter 18. That's page 37. Do not let resistance alarm you. Resistance is fear, and to give in to resistance is to give in to fear. Remember, fear can keep you from me. So when you feel resistance, recognize it for what it is. Realize that resistance is a path from me. And ask yourself, which path would you place your feet on now? Then let go of your belief in resistance and let go of your fight against resistance. Give your heart to me. Ask me to help and let yourself rest as the resistance passes on to nothingness. Mark chapter 9, verse 1. It is a path that sometimes seems difficult, but that is only your resistance to peace. It is a path that sometimes seems lonely, but that is only your resistance to love. It is a path that sometimes seems frightening, but that is only your resistance to truth. Lay down your resistance and walk with me, for I offer light and love in one. Luke chapter 11. Your mind is split. Within you, there is great willingness to do all that I ask you to do. And within you, there is a great resistance that guides you away from the practice I ask you to seek. Let us look at your resistance, that you may be aware of its poise. Then you will be able to recognize it and to choose, not with your resistance, but with your willingness. Your resistance will distract you away from me. It will give you thoughts that seem to need to be thought, problems to think through and solve. It will give you things to do that must be done if you are to be seen as worthy by the outside world. It will throw confusion at you so that what once seemed clear when you heard my word becomes muddled and unclear, so you are sure what to do. It will ask questions and you will seem to need to know the answers in order to put your trust in me. And so you will go out in search of satisfactory answers when satisfactory answers cannot be found. It will offer you diversion that seems to bring great joy and pleasure into your life within the world. It will bring doubt into your mind so that you will have a desire to find out what is true without giving up your trust. What are you to do when tempted by your own resistance? Notice it for what it is. Do not let it disguise itself as something important. See it as resistance and call it by its name. Then give it to me, backed by the strength of your willingness. Together, we will redirect your attention to the path you have set out on. Blessed are those who hear my word and heed it in willingness and joy. Verse 29 through 32. Your resistance is nothing more than your desire to keep things the same, to keep things as you see them now. And you desire this because you desire safety, and you think there is safety in the security you have made. And yet you fear yourself and what you have made also. You are safe, but you are not secure, for security knows no illusion of fear. Let me lead you to both safety and security, which is known through the knowledge of your safety. Safety comes from the guarantee of who you are. Verse 33 through 36. The knowledge of your safety takes away all images of fear. In knowing yourself, you can know no fear. 37 through 54. Resistance will sometimes seem to be the light, and so you must listen closely within your own mind that you know where your instructions and desires come from. Resistance will sometimes be subtle, and so you must listen closely within your mind so that you know where your instructions and desires come from. A useful question to ask whether you are prompted to fill your time with anything is, what is it for? Luke chapter 12. Now let's talk about the work you are to do. You are aware that there will be resistance, great resistance. Do not lose this awareness and always be on guard. When resistance arises in your mind in any form, let it go immediately in gratitude as valueless. I have spoken to you of both experiences before, so this is but a reminder for you. The only two experiences that you will know as we travel this path together are the experiences of your willingness and the experiences of resistance. Everything that you think you experience is either one or the other. So do not worry about your progress on this path. Do not judge your own thoughts or actions, for worry and judgments do not bring joy, and so they cannot be willingness. Discern carefully, my friend. Recognize the thought within your mind, and at every opportunity, choose the strength of your willingness. Seek only for the kingdom, and all things will be given to you. Where your heart is, your treasure is also. 35 to 48. It will be helpful if you remember this. God's will is that you be perfectly happy in every moment of eternity. That is simple. And so when you are not happy, you have made a choice that is not God's will. When you are not happy, you have chosen with resistance. That is all. It is not a fight or a rebellion. It's merely resistance. It does not take you from God or separate you from Him. It merely resists your willingness to know Him. So whenever you are not happy, it is because you are resisting accepting truth. To be happy again, all you need to do is return. to your heart. NTI, Luke chapter 16. Let me remind you that confusion and worry are not of me. They are resistance, so you may rejoice that you do not need to listen to them. When confusion and worry are upon you, simply rest and let them pass. Choose willingness, and you will feel joyful, and all things will be helpful. Choose resistance, and you have only chosen delay. Chapter 22. The thoughts within your mind can seem to take you in circles. You can seem to move from understanding to confusion at lightning speed, which makes you dizzy. Do not let this concern you. When this seems to happen within your mind, you are witnessing your own resistance, struggling in a fight for survival. Remember that I have told you, this is your fear of healing. Do not get caught up in the struggle to understand what cannot be understood. Remember, I have told you this is a ploy of resistance. Instead, rest. Give your faith and willingness to me that you may be healed through your decision to rest and trust. Luke chapter 22. There will be times within your mind when there will seem to be great fear as you move forward by doing all that I ask you to do. Know this, great fear is nothing more than great resistance. And so the means for overcoming great fear is great willingness. Great willingness comes from remembering what you want. Acts chapter 4. I have told you before that you will be tempted to deny your guidance, and I have told you where this temptation will come from. It is resistance born of a sense of unworthiness. I have also told you where this sense of unworthiness comes from. It is born of guilt, born of the belief that you have stolen yourself from God. Romans chapter 10. When you find resistance in your heart and your mind, put not your trust there. When you find resistance, remember what you truly want. Rest so that resistance will pass over you. When you find willingness, clap your hands with your Holy Spirit in joy. Walk forward in trust and willingness. This is your desire awakened, and it is leading you home. 2 Timothy chapter 4. The message of healing experiences opposition only within you. This is good news, for if the resistance to healing is yours, you can make the decision to release the resistance. Remember, I've told you that you will only experience two things on the spiritual path with me: resistance and willingness. Both are in your mind, and so both are within your power of acceptance and release. Accept willingness and feel gratitude for it. 1 John chapter 4. Love is all there is. This is a fact you must put your faith in. When any thought does not feel like love, you may put it aside as false. Thoughts that are not love are thoughts that are such as these: lack, limits, competition, victimhood, personhood, strife and fighting, sickness, death, rage and sorrow, helplessness, hopelessness, control and loss. God is love, and love is everything. The thoughts of everything are these: acceptance, joy, gratitude, peace, and welcome. There is no resistance in love because love is everything, and everything cannot be resisted by that which it is. Revelations chapter 15. The walk within the recesses of the mind is not a struggle. Whenever you notice the feeling of struggle, you know that the desire for resistance has taken hold. Rest yourself a moment and remember that willingness does not struggle. Let the struggle fade away and return yourself to the true desire of the heart.
Thank you, Tawonda.
Resistance is the last book, so I'm done.
That
Thank
was
you,
a
Michelle.
lot. That was
Thank
a lot.
you, everyone.
Thank you. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So I'm the queen of resistance. I can do it very, very well. Yeah. That's the name of my game, is resistance. So this spoke very clearly to me. And boy, I really resisted doing this. And I tried to get out of it. In many ways, my ego did. But Jacqueline wouldn't have it. So here I am. I walk through the fair. So, and that's what I'm supposed to do. And, I can do that in the world. I can go, out on like these rocks that's way out there and everybody's scared. I can do that. I can do all these things, in the world. But when it comes to going within and sharing from that place, that's scarier than any ledge that I was out on or anything. So this is, I have no fear, in the world, but when it comes to this, it's huge. And, but it was a gift because I had to, I switched to resistance, and this was on Monday. So I had some time to prepare, but boy, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. And it's going through that unworthiness. It's just like, I can't do this. And lots of tears and anger. And, it's like, why am I doing this? And I don't want to do this. And my husband's like, wait a minute, you said you wanted to be a minister or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I didn't want to do this. So it was just everything. Gotta have a picture. And I'm like, no, I don't want a picture. It was just like every little thing. And I was like, oh my God. And so it was like, okay, this is my gift. I get to look at my resistance. And it is just massive. So I guess it was after I got my ordination, I was like, I can't be a minister. I don't know anything. I can't do this. And so I was terrified. And then I heard a message about that you don't have to do anything, which is so true. You don't have to do anything. But the one thing you do need to do is to clear out all the stuff that's there. And then it's just there and there's nothing to be done. And it was a deep relaxation and I loved it. There was nothing to do. You didn't have to meditate. You didn't have to do anything. Just sit in presence and be. Not even sit. You just be in presence with whatever you're doing. And it worked for a while. But then the ego came back in pretty strong. And I could just feel the tension. And I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? And I was just like, I don't know, I felt like a mess. I just felt like and I'm like, oh, what's changed? Well, I'm not doing any practice at all. I'm not connecting with anything spiritually at all. And I'm like, okay, I got to get back into this because I feel better when I'm practicing and when I'm keeping it in the forefront of my mind at all times. And if I'm not, then it came back in and it was very, very strong. So I'm back, and I'm totally convinced practice is very, very important. But then I still have a lot of resistance to doing it. So I did some journaling on this, which is not something I do very often. So I said, my path seems to be one of resistance. What do I need to know about resistance? Resistance is like driving with the emergency brake on. A lot of pressure is placed on the gas pedal with very little movement forward. You're always doing and going to workshops or retreats, to different teachers, courses, satsangs, listening to different teachers, reading, and searching endlessly. Being busy in the world leaves no time for practice, contemplation, meditation, or just being. It is the long way home. You are resisting life. So how do I resist life? And this is people pleasing, making sure everyone else has had their needs met, overextending myself. If you stop trying to please others, what would happen? No one would love me. They would think I'm selfish and reject me. Well, that's obviously the ego speaking. And then distractions. Going to the store to get groceries when I don't really need them. Doing mindless things on the computer. Always trying to get things done. Having a list. An endless list of things to do. So, like, I can't do that. I got to go do this. I mean, and then this happened with the MPP. I would just wait till the very last end of the day to do it. And then I'd be up till 2 or 3 in the morning doing my homework. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And then I wouldn't get any sleep. And it was just like this. I'm surprised I even but I did it. So, and this is a big one. Confusion. Too many books, too many spiritual teachers, leading to confusion on what to do. It's like I'm constantly searching for that answer, but not willing to do the work. It doesn't work if you don't do the work. It's like my chiropractor. I have this thing that, because I've had neck problems and it stretches my neck. And I go in there, my neck's hurting. He's like, have you been using your thing? No. Oh, is that why your neck hurts? Yeah. It doesn't work when you don't use it. So, yeah. So confusion. And it was in, let's see, which one was confusion? I had it written down here, but it really spoke to me. There's a couple. There's Luke chapter 16. Let me remind you that confusion and worry are not of me. When confusion or worry upon you, simply rest and let them pass. Choose with willingness and you will feel joyful. Choose with resistance and you will have only chosen delay or suffering along with it. And yeah. And then also in Luke chapter 22, the thoughts within your mind can seem to take you in circles. You seem to move from understanding to confusion at lightning speed, which makes you dizzy. Do not let this concern you. When this seems to happen within your mind, you're witnessing your own resistance, struggling for a fight for survival. Do not get caught up in the struggle to understand what cannot be understood. So, I went through the entire MPP program trying to understand it. And I'm really good at understanding things. I've got a mathematical mind. I can analyze. I used to be a financial analyst. I can analyze things. I could do all those really awesome things. But, give me a hard math problem, I'll figure it out. but tell me to go within and listen. It's like, yeah, but I'm learning because I'm willing, and I will. And yeah, so it just, that was what was, so the message was just be willing, just a little bit of willingness, like, Regina says. And yeah, so that's just going to be just a little bit of willingness, and I don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. So back to my journal. Let's see what else I got here. Piece of paper. Okay, so resistance is also trying to be perfect, which leads to not doing things, or procrastination, or backing out of things that I said I'd do, because, yeah. So perfection is impossible. And then choosing the wrong mind as my teacher. And that's what really came out of all this investigation of resistance, is I'm using the ego to look at the ego. It doesn't work, and it's miserable. Just like, and I know that. And Regina's pointing things out. I know that, but it still happens. Like, what? So that's really going to be my focus. It's like, where am I looking from? I'm always looking from the ego to show me how I'm doing it wrong or whatever. And so that was huge for me to really see that on my own, that that's really what's going on, even though I know. But the ego is tricky. At least mine is. Okay, and then using the ego to look at the ego results in an endless loop of guilt and shame. And then fear. It's believing fear, being afraid to look within, afraid to look at my feelings of unworthiness, guilt, and shame. You understand, this is wisdom speaking to me, you understand the concepts of truth, but you do not allow the truth into your heart. You stay at the level of concepts so you can protect your heart. You are afraid that you are unworthy and guilty. If you stop trying to please others, what would happen? The belief is that no one will love me. They will think I'm selfish and reject me. This is a false ego belief. So, Acts chapter 4 talks about, I've told you before that you will be tempted to deny your guidance. And I've told you where the temptation will come from. It is resistance born of a sense of unworthiness. I have told you where the sense of unworthiness comes from. It's born of guilt, born of the belief that you have stolen yourself from God. So, it's the I am bad belief still coming up. Yeah, and I spoke to Jacqueline about this. I had an incident that happened this summer where I clearly heard guidance, and I ignored it twice. We're on a trail out in the middle of nowhere, going down into a canyon, and there's this, massive, beautiful waterfall. And my son and his girlfriend and I are going along. And it's early in the spring, and we hadn't gotten all the trees that had fallen over the winter. So there was a log that had fallen. And, I just kind of climbed over it. I mean, I got short legs, and I climbed over and went over the other side. And then his girlfriend, who's even shorter than I am, was doing the same thing. and I heard, go back and help. And in my mind, I said, no, my back is bad. I don't need to do that. And then I took another couple steps, go back and help her. No, I'm not doing that. Well, she fell. And she tore her ACL completely. And I just was like, oh my God, it's like, wow. And so it was, we were there for many hours. We did get out before dark and had search and rescue come and take her out of there. And so she had the whole summer of surgery. But at the same time, I felt some guilt about that. And I'm like, no, I don't know what anything's for. I really don't. I know, I don't know. So if anything, I know definitely that I have a voice that's telling me what to do. It was it was just so clear. So, and I think Marissa will forgive me for that. She's awesome. So, she's 99% better now. So, it was a rough summer for her though. So, and then the next thing on my journal that I was going to talk about is, what do I really want? I want to be unconditionally happy so that I can enjoy life, let it go, and embrace all that life is. That's my spiritual aspiration. And so I asked, how do I let go of resistance? And I came up with a big list of things that I can do based on NTI. But what I've come up with really is to tune in to how I'm feeling. If there's anything but love or joy, to rest in the mind, to accept that it's healing and to trust, to let it be, don't try to understand it, to fix it or analyze it, and to write it out. To trust my guidance and to remember my spiritual aspiration. Before doing or saying anything, ask what it is for, so I can know, is this coming from guidance or spirit, or is this coming from ego? And I can say that when I use that, most of it's usually coming from ego. So, yeah. And then commit to going to gentle healing, which I've tried 3 different times. So, and then I get halfway through or whatever the year, and then I'm done. So I'm going to commit to doing it 100%. And I'm not going to go to any other teachers or teachings or books, and I'm just going to focus on that. And that is it. So I'm not going to be, so I have ADHD. And I get just like all over the place. So I just have to like, nope, I'm going to focus on this. And so also, and I didn't put the reading in, but in Inner Ramana, it talks about the love of discipline. I can tell you that I hate discipline. I hate it with a passion. I like to go with the flow, and that works. It does work. Going with the flow does work. But there's not a lot of discipline in that. So, and discipline isn't necessary in all aspects, but when you really want something and you got a lot of resistance to it, discipline is very, very helpful. And I can see that, I mean, years ago, I used to run marathons. I had a lot of discipline. I mean, you don't go run marathons and get good times with no discipline. It's there. But I just hate to be told what to do. So, but I'm going to love it because this is what I have a goal. And this goal is to not necessarily awaken, but this ego, I'm just done. I'm just done with it. I'm tired of feeling, less than this people-pleasing stuff. And it's just wearing me out. And I'm done with it. So my question was, is resistance futile? Futile means incapable of producing any useful results or pointless. Resistance keeps the ego in place, which is not helpful to seeing truth. And it's going in the wrong direction. But at the same time, I can see resistance. Everything's divine grace. Everything on my path, it has a purpose. It makes us stop and question what we're doing because there's just so much tension with the resistance that it's obviously there's something going on. It's, the suffering or the exhaustion from too much resistance. And there's also hitting rock bottom, which I wouldn't suggest, but what do I know what anything's for? So, divine grace is just knowing that there just has to be a better way. You don't have to life doesn't have to be miserable. So I am recommitted and excited and happy to be here because I was miserable. And I'm happy. It's just the joy I feel to be around this beautiful group of people. And I just feel so lucky to be a part of it. So I think that completes everything that I thought I needed to say. But yeah, I just love you guys so much because you're just such beautiful mirrors, and I'm so thankful for Jacqueline talking to me. So, yeah, I would recommend the mentoring stuff. Of course, I didn't want to do it, but I scheduled it, and then I'm like, why am I doing this? But I did it, and I'm very happy I did. So, all right, I think what's next on our list here? I think we have a song, and I'll let Zina take care of that. Okay, I'm floating around now. I love that. Sharon?
You did a great job today. You were the thing that I see, you told in the 12-step program, when somebody uses a drug or alcohol, they say, I'm telling on my disease. And that's what you did today. You told on our disease because we're all connected to the crazy mind. And so when you spoke today, I felt like you were speaking from my crazy mind, because you came through with such innocence, so precious. And I think we all love that because we're all in resistance is the only thing that shows up that keeps us back, right? And it does for me. I have ADHD, so I understand. And I guess if somebody doesn't have it, I've had people look at me like, oh, look at her. The thing is, when you have it, it's hard to keep things straight. Well, you did a magnificent job. You are just a delight, and I love you. Thank you.
I love you too, Sharon. Thank you for your support. She talked to me yesterday when I was going nuts. So gave me some support. Patty?
Hi, Michelle. Thank you. I believe you were used today to help me because I saw my video. I have been in so much resistance this week and fear, so much fear because I have to have a mammogram. And unfortunately, I've put it off a little bit because of COVID. So I have so much resistance and trying to figure out how I could get out of it because it's this week. And I heard you speak of resistance, and I thought, oh my God, she's talking directly to me. So I've decided I'm going to do what you did. I'm going to go through NTI and read what I can on resistance and fear, and journal on it, and then trust my inner guidance to know that whatever I'm meant to do, I will be shown. So anyway, thank you so much.
Yeah, that was the thing that it's like, I know it's not just me. It sure feels that way at times, but I know it's not just me. I mean, if I could find a million different quotes on resistance in NTI, I know it's not just me. And yeah, so I knew just had to talk about it because that's what's up pretty much most of the time. So, Tawonda?
Hi, Michelle. It's funny that Michelle and I became good friends during our MPP classes. And for some reason, we kept getting scheduled to be buddies, and she's on the West Coast, I'm on the East Coast, and trying to get our times together to where we could meet with each other. It seemed to work out pretty effortlessly, and we became pretty good friends. So when I checked the website yesterday and saw that she was giving a homily today, I was like, oh, good, Michelle's back. And then I saw her title was like, Resistance is Futile. And it's like, wait a minute. I think we had a lesson about that in gentle healing. And so I went back and I looked at the lesson. It's lesson 265. And I wrote that, I mean, if I'm sure all you know who the Borg are in Star Trek. So they assimilate everything. And I wrote in my lesson that I didn't want to be assimilated by the Borg. The Borg is the ego. And so I said, okay, all right, let's see where Michelle is going with this. So after I read the lesson, I was thinking, well, wait a minute. I should be looking at this the other way around, because I'm resisting being led to God. I'm willingly giving myself to the ego. I go, half the time I don't even question what my thoughts are. And it's like, wait a minute, this is backwards. This is backwards. I should want to be assimilated into God. I should not be resisting. This is. I need to. So when I read NTI this morning, and that was the other thing, I kept waiting for Michelle to send me the reading, and the reading didn't come in until 5:00 this morning. I was like, "What in the world? Is she going to have me read all of NTI?" Like, okay. So when I read it, reading it today, this morning was the first time I read everything, and so as I'm reading it, I'm reading it to you guys, but I'm actually reading it for me. And so, everything I read pointed right back at me. And so I want to thank you. It's been a while since we've spoken. And but I take this as a gift. It was a gift from you to me. And I really appreciate you asking me to be your reader and for waiting. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but waiting to send me what was going to be read, because it was actually something I didn't need to, stop and prepare myself for. It was something that should have been spontaneous, and for me to accept it however it was given. And I really appreciate that. And I thank you for asking me.
That was beautiful. Yeah, I love your contemplation of how, you got it backwards. That's really, that's true. We just just follow the ego. It's just a habit, right? And I totally cherished our time in be together. So thank you. Thank you for reading all that. I sent it to you when I got it done. I switched gears in the middle of the night, so don't ask me.
And Jacqueline has her hand up.
Thanks. Wow. Thank you so much, Michelle, for just plowing through the resistance. I was looking for the right word, plowing through the resistance, and to all of these things, to looking, to setting up an appointment with me to talk about these things, to being here this morning. All of it. I want to say a couple of things. Tawonda said, so I take this as a gift from you to me. And I take this as a gift from you to me. The interesting thing about mentoring is when we do this, we're always perfectly matched. And so, A Course in Miracles talks about teaching what you need to learn. That's what we do in mentoring, right? So you and I joined together around this whole resistance idea, and it's exactly what I needed to look at, as I told you then. So I'm very grateful to you for bringing this so clearly to my attention, and for helping me to review what I need to learn. You said you're grateful for this community. We are so grateful for you. We are so grateful for you. There are no accidents here. Your teaching this morning was beautiful. You are a beautiful teacher. And all of us here needed to hear what you had to teach this morning. So thank you for that. I wanted to say regarding what Tawonda said about the Borg. That I was a big Star Trek fan. Loved that whole, whichever one that was with Jean-Luc Picard, whichever Star Trek that was. But I was confused for a long time about the Borg, and it's really interesting because you say the Borg represents the ego, but and I know this is probably a longer discussion, a little off track, but the Borg represents oneness. So they don't actually represent the ego. They are assimilating everybody into one mind. So it's really interesting way to watch Star Trek. So if you get a hankering to watch that series again, if you see them from there, because they're all the on the Starship Enterprise, they're all like, yeah, individuality, yay, it's like, no, the Borg actually have it right. So anyway, it's fun to see the Borg from that perspective as you watch Star Trek. One other thing that I want to say is you defined resistance is incapable of producing any useful results. And I just think that that's a wonderful way to look at resistance. If we experience resistance and we remember, oh, wait, this resistance is incapable of producing any useful results, it just makes it easier to turn from. And I did hear, though, that you said actually there was something useful because it led to divine grace. Yeah. And the divine grace of knowing that there's got to be a better way. And it's just so beautiful and just such insight. So thank you for your insight. Thank you for your willingness to be here and to share this with us. And I love you dearly. Thank you.
You know, I was going to call this the gift of resistance, but yeah, that was going to be, because it is a gift. I mean, everything is, you know, and I just, yeah. So Rhoda was supposed to do today. So anyway, I thought it was on the schedule that Rhoda was supposed to do it. And I'm like, oh, then I don't have to do it. And Jacqueline would say, no. And I'm like, no, it says Rhoda. So anyway, thank you guys for being so supportive and love. I just, thank you. I don't know what I'd do without Awakening Together. So I plan on doing a lot more and being more present with it and scheduling the time, because I just, yeah, hell with everything else. So anyway, I think we have a song, but I don't know that we have time, so it's whatever. Yeah, unless anybody has any other questions or comments or.
Been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.